Taking on 3 models at once can be a heck of a challenge, but here we are at the end of it with great models to show. Hey, welcome back to Lemon Courage. This time, it's the third and final part of the 3 Bearers series. You're going to see me take on leathers, fabrics, some black non-metallic metal, and of course some basing. These videos have been a joy to make, and the models from Bestiarium Games have made it pure fun. Bestiarium calls these the flesh, and they are a playground of textures and details for you to sculpt out and paint. If you're planning a grimdark adventure, or you want some really cool Ogren proxies, check these files out over on my mini factory. Also, a special shout out to White Bat Audio for the music that I used in this video. It makes a huge difference having professional grade music to paint to while I'm on Twitch or while I'm on YouTube. That's it. Time to grab your brushes and let's start painting. Getting some copper done on this fellow's shoulder pad and hip piece. But I really got to get this thing done in one final video, so I'm just going to jump right into it and I guess talk through what I'm doing. But I'll be a little bit faster than I usually am, just because I got to get it done. So real quick, I'm just going to bang out the copper on this guy first. On his hat, on his shoulder pad, and on his hip thing. So kind of how I did it last time. I had Irene on chatting. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out, because honestly, we're just a couple of idiots talking on stream, but we're a fun couple of idiots. So I'm gonna start with this Vallejo burnt red, like I did last time. I don't need heaps of it because it's just gonna be the dark background of that dark copper, and then the other colors that I need are golden yellow, which is my go-to for most non-metallic metals, I'll be honest, and matte white. I was using a little bit of this light orange color last time. I'll be honest, it did like nothing for me, so I'm probably going to skip it. Oh, sorry, no, I didn't use light orange. I used this Mars red. But again, it didn't really do much for me, so I'm just gonna skip it this time. So the dark red, again, the burnt red from Vallejo, the AK golden yellow, and the Army Painter matte white. And that's what I'm gonna do. Those of you who've watched my videos, commented in the past that you guys hear that noise and you're like, oh no, it's the vortex mixer. It is. It's a freaking lifesaver. It makes my life so much simpler that I don't have to bust my wrist trying to shake up these paints. I just have the machine do it for me. And that's the kind of automation I like. That's the kind of AI that I welcome, even though it's not even close to AI. Alright, got me a bit of water, got me a brush that's got a good enough tip on it, and let's get painting. Also going to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing this time. Sometimes I take my time a little bit when I'm on stream, but this time, because I'm frankly behind, I'm just banging it out. I'm pretty good at taking this out pretty quickly. There. Most of a base coat down. Part of why I picked these colors out, these brands, colors, combination is that oh, hold on, my music isn't running. Let me just set that up. I'm sorry, everyone. I did not think that I was gonna crash the whole scene doing that, but I did. So, shit happens, I guess. All right. Sorry, I was just trying to fix my music so you could hear some music. For those of you who are lurking, give me a little thumbs up if you can still hear the music and if it's at a good level. Saves me heaps when I'm editing later on. Water. Okay. Hat made red. I realize his skin is more skin than hat, but that's okay because I can make this whatever I want it to be, and I want it to be a horrible welded to his head kind of hat. If you're around, let me know what you're doing for this Christmas weekend. For me, I'm painting, obviously. Alright, one last bit to give this dark red to. Just double check something. Okay. Back in. Do you guys like the sort of retro wave vibe? I mean, I do. I love the John Carpenter soundtracks and horror movie soundtracks, especially the ones that have been done kind of like what you're listening to, with like the ticking kind of beat. Okay. Alright. Base coat done. I can let that dry, and I can start talking about what I'm going to do for... I've got two elements to do. The first is I have this claw thing and these knee pads and boots, and those are all going to be done in like a black metal. So just like a very dark but shiny metal. The leather underneath, I want that to be a little bit patchworky. I don't want it to look like skin. I want it to look like dirty leather. So that's going to be the objective. For the almost black metal, I've got these two paints that are my my super darks. The first is Petroleum Gray from Scale Color, and the other one is Black from Scale Color. Honestly, all the blacks are the same. Almost every black is made equal. But the Petroleum Gray is going to be like my default, main black color. And then I'll do a little bit of highlighting with my favorite paint, the French... Oh, I'm sorry, this is the wrong one. With this one, the French Blue from AK. It's my favorite because it spreads like crazy. It's got a really nice level of saturation in terms of the actual color. The rest of it's being gray. And so I'll be doing highlight with that. And then my super highlights, which are like the really shiny bits of the metal, I'll be doing in matte white. You can tell I use matte white a lot. And then for the leather, I'm going to be I want it to be patchworky. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have patches that are based in Terra Matte Flat Earth from from Vallejo, and other parts that are based in khaki, also from Vallejo. Because the idea is like, if you look at the actual sculpt, you can see that it is actually, stitched together. Hold on, I got too many screens open. Minimize this. Great. Yeah, so if you like zoom in, or if I bring the model closer to you, it's not as obvious there. There we go. Here it's obvious. It's stitched together. And so I want the different sections of it to look slightly different. So that's why I'm going to go with like a brown base on some parts and a green base on other parts. But yeah, that's the plan. My reds on this guy to get him all coppered up are dry, so I'm going to hit him with first round of highlights, which is the yellow. And it's a mix of the two colors that I do. It's not just, I don't just like go in with yellow. I mix like a 50-50 of the dark red I was using and the yellow that I want to use. And I do a little test bit, see how it looks. I think it looks good. One part there. The light is kind of coming here, so I'll put the line here. I actually need a little bit more. I need more transition colors. That is too dark. There we go. This is the part where I usually go quiet and lock in, because I get super into it. If you've ever done live painting with me, or if you've been here before, and I tend to get real quiet when I'm doing highlighting or when I'm doing this kind of work, which is unfortunate because streaming really favors talkative people. So I've been putting in a significant effort to be more talkative, but of course I just want to paint. I put a call out this time on the bottom right of my screen of the music, because like every streamer needs to figure out their music, and I found this guy, Carl Casey. He makes that sort of synthwavy vibe that I like a lot, and he's got a open use license on his music, specifically calling out streaming and YouTube. And I was like, oh, great. I can use that. Because I am no musician. So I'm trying to match a little bit the placement of the shiny bits between the shoulder pad and the hat, and I'll do the same thing on the knee pad or hip pad or whatever. Yeah. I don't know how well you can see it. Oh, actually, the camera picks it up pretty well. So you can kind of already see I'm sculpting out my shapes. But of course, this is like a repeat of last game, or of not last game, of last stream, when I kind of showed you all this. Then again, I'll happily do it again, because for me, it's just good practice. Remember, if your paint isn't going on, it's because the paint is too dry. you need to keep your paint wet. But also remember that when you make your paint wet, you also run the risk of thinning out your paint. And to deal with that, all I can say is practice. Practice mixing your paints. Practice thinning your paints. Get good at it, because it's going to be like the number one thing that you're going to be fighting against your entire painting journey is paint consistency. Just figure out what works for you. For me, I have a chart. I can show it to you. This is my chart. Made it a while ago. I keep it like on the wall. Here, I'll put it so you can kind of see. So it's like pigments to water, so I know how much I need. Made it a while ago because I saw it on someone's YouTube channel and I was like, oh, that's freaking useful. So I made my own, and I just keep it pinned on the wall when I paint. Actually, not even when I paint, I just keep it pinned on the wall. Okay. Come on, copper. We've got metal to imitate. So grateful that my computer isn't actively blurring out my camera anymore. I don't know if you could tell from last time, but that was what was happening. It was just... my camera was like, no, none for you. And just blurred the whole thing. Very irritating. Alright, now we go even lighter. So far I haven't actually done a layer of yellow. I've just been doing middle colors, but now we're doing a bit of yellow. Should be our first bit. It always freaks me out when I do it because it's like a big difference, a big color change from the dark reds. But then I see it and I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's doing it. And it's, you know, trust the process. Also, this is a good opportunity to start highlighting the spikes. Because so far I've like just been talking about highlighting the base, you know, pauldron. Got to touch those spikes as well. Sometimes I'll put just a bit of water on because it'll help me spread out thin layers of paint. And you can see it's kind of like glooping and going all over the place, but because it's sitting on a bit of water, I'll be able to mop it really easily. And when I say mop, what I mean is like move it around or remove it, you know. I can also remove it in a way that's just super easy and makes for like really nice gradients, because the paint is like actively drying as my brush is touching it. The water that's put on ahead of time just sort of slows it down. And that, folks, is called wet blending. It's super fun. Can only be done in about 5 or 10 second chunks at a time. but yields some good results. All right, got me some yellow in this here thing. Feel my phone buzzing. Wonder what it is. Let me just double check. Okay, put them out away. I think I might come back in with more mid-tone. Which is a little tricky to do given how many spikes there are to work around. But they help, the midtones help give shape to whatever you're making, whatever you're painting. Well, what a... There we go. Much better. We do not want crunchy transitions. We want smooth transitions. And how do you get smooth transitions? You paint them smooth. I know that sounds dumb, but it is correct. When I say smooth, what I mean is with lots of water, with lots of, moisture in the paint so that it can move. Great. A little bit more of that lighter tone, just to soften up my yellows. A big yellow line. This brush, although it is a sable brush, is struggling just a little bit. I like to stipple on little edge highlights because at least in this kind of setting, this this kind of setting is very rare, in like grimdark setting. But I mean, it's very rare that you'd ever have like armor that's perfect. It's almost always chinked or damaged or chipped, what have you. So I like to express that with these little stippled marks.
Daisies. Alright, I'm already 20 minutes in. I gotta finish up this copper. Let's come in with the white. Get our super highlights in. Super highlights are the white highlights. They make the painting go from kind of warm to oh wow, that's metal. There, that's looking like shiny metal. Same thing up on the top. A little bit of love to the spikes. Because spikes deserve love just like everything else. Okay. Not perfection, a little bit rushed, but that's fair. Hey, it's crunch time! Welcome back. Love to see you here. Alright. Done with catching up on the copper. The copper can go away now, because I don't need to worry about it no more. We're going to jump into the leathers. And I'll do a little recap again about like what the plan is, or what the plan was with the leathers. So, if you can see in here, we've got these like stitch marks along these different parts of the leather, and I want it to look like it's sourced from all these different, leather pieces. So, I've got Vallejo Flat Earth, big fan, and Vallejo Khaki, which I think I got in a like World War II uniform painting kit. They're both great because they both dry super, super flat. They've got like a good amount of saturation, and I can go lighter and darker like by mixing up or down with black or white in both of these colors and get a lot of expression out of it. Still, I'm going to be using Pallid Witch Flesh from Games Workshop that desperately needs to be mixed. Just throw it on the Vortex. I like it just because it's like light gray. Yeah, and that'll be my highlights for the leather. But the leather, like the highlights for the metal, you can kind of see are like very narrow. But that's because I'm trying to make something look really shiny when otherwise it's not that shiny. Whereas the leather is going to be like super gradual because I want it to look really flat. More similar to what you saw on the skin. Yeah. And if you're wondering why I'm not just slap chopping it, it's because I don't quite have enough luminosity on the leather as it is currently for it to look good with a slap chop. So I'm not gonna. First up, Flat Earth. Oh. have these loincloths too. I might make that a third. I'll leave it alone. Flat Earth. Out you come. Technically my sheet says 2 blobs of pigment to 1 blob of water for that base coat thickness, but this is one of those super high coverage paints. So this being the Flat Earth. So 2 is fine. 2 to 1 is just fine. We'll just see how it comes out. Yeah. Perfect. It's thin enough I can still see the shadows that are behind it. Thick enough that I don't need to worry about a million layers to get good coverage. 2 layers will be just fine. To match the loincloth, I'll make the belt the same color. Yeah, just making sure I'm still in frame. This is the biggest thing I've been learning about streaming is like I need to always check to see if I've moved my hands out of frame or whatever. Cool. One done. Number 2 coming in hot. Great. Number 2, done. When I say done, what I mean is like drying, waiting for it to dry before I can put a second coat on. That's what done means. For those of you who work in an industry where definition of done really matters. This plate thing hanging off their hip, I think I'm going to be painting it black along with the other odd pieces of their armor. Beauty. And, you know, I realize this guy has a funny wrist thing. I'm just going to paint that leather too. Might as well. Beauty. These guys, it's dried enough that I can hit it again. Great. 2 coats on there. The wristband thing that I just did on the other guy, I need to do for this guy now. A little tricky to get to, but it's fine. The belt. Leather's a lot of fun to paint because it can, like, there's a lot of different ways you can choose to shade it. The really popular one I'm seeing these days on Instagram is like layers and layers and layers of micro scratches. Micro scratch is like where you take a brighter highlight, you water it down to oblivion, and then you take a really fine tip brush and you just go nuts. There's like theory behind it and, you know, a way to do it, but that's essentially it. It's time consuming to learn. Quick once you learn it. Like once you know how to do it, you just bang it out and you're done. But learning it can take a little while. Specifically learning the consistency of paint that you need to get those micro scratches. And obviously, you know, let me know if you want to learn some of that today. I can throw in some micro scratches. They're fun. Now for this skirt, I'm only going to do one coat. Because I actually want it to look crappy, for lack of a better word. I want it to look uneven. I want it to look old. Imperfect. So that means I can settle for a much less finished, much less well-defined coat. Also, I have a feeling the skirt is going to have way more shading going on than the belt and the loincloth. Also, what I talked about last time was about hey, Miss Missy Alisi. Welcome to the chat. I'd say what brings you here, but it's obviously the painting. If you're new here, what kind of stuff do you paint? Thin coats. And yeah, I'm gonna go in with the actually I'm gonna leave this leafy stuff around here, and I'm gonna do that in the base coated like brownish green. Oh hey, I think I know who I'm talking to. How's it going? How's the pooch? Okay. Alright. Yes, I hope you're well too. We're speaking in code for those of you who don't know. It means something. But what does it mean? I will not tell you. That would defeat the whole purpose of the code. Right now, we're painting this guy's skirts. I was just talking about like coats and what kind of coats you put down, and why I'm only putting down one coat for the skirts. Simple answer is because I'm going to be doing a lot of layering to give the skirt like a lot of character, and so because there's going to be so many layers of paint on top of this layer I'm doing here, I don't really need to worry about the base coat being like perfect. You saw me go back or you might have seen me go back and like fix up. Do a second coat on like a section of the model I was just holding. That's just because it was in a section that was just a little too dark for what I wanted to accomplish. Luckily, these thin coats dry real quick. Real quick. Fast enough that if I really wanted to, I could just go in right away afterwards. All right. One more for you. Good enough. Number 3. Numero 3. Something that I've heard from my friends is they're like, Hugh, you paint really fast. And my secret is I'm impatient. I want to get the paint on. And I spent years being really bad because I painted fast. And there are people who were like, you'll get better if you just slow down. And that's probably still true. But it makes me happy to paint fast. And it's really all about me when it comes to what I do with my hobbies and free time. As it is with all of you. Sorry, I'm painting a section here that you literally can't see because the Iron Maiden shield thing is fully blocking it from camera view. And frankly, it's even kind of blocking it from my view. Hey, if you're in the chat, can you let me know if the music volume's, good? Too much, too low, too high? Give me like a thumbs up if it's all good. Great. All right. Believe it or not, I have hit all of these models. Music is very quiet. All right, I'll turn up the music. Let me know if this is better. I mean, it's a quiet part of the song, but when it picks up again, let me know if it's better. All right, switching over to the khaki color, the green color, which I don't need to go super green because these guys, their skin is already kind of green shifted. They're supposed to be like kind of undead, and in my mind, mostly because of movies, undead is green. Oh, that's not right. More mixing, please. I love how right after I lost my cat. Crunch Time points out that the music was very quiet, and I went and adjusted it, but like immediately afterwards, the song just went quiet. It's like it's trying to mess with me. So I'm just trying to fix this cap. I'm gonna do it later on off stream. These are really handy to know what the paint looks like, but sometimes they fall off, and I haven't figured out a good way to make them not fall off yet. So, okay, khaki green. Again, 2-to-1, 2 daubs of paint, 1 daub of water. Because this is a paint that is happy being thin, because the coverage is just bonkers. In fact, I bet you I could have gone away with just 1 daub of paint and 1 daub of water, and it would have been just as good. Alright. In we go. Yeah, see? That coverage is nuts. And that's thinned already. Like that is a thinned down paint. That's going on there. Like, geez. Or as the Utes say, sheesh. But please don't do that because it's, their word, not mine. Oh, that was too much. Okay. I'm going to let that section dry because the paint went a little nuts. Even though it's a really simple pattern, like already you can kind of see it's getting that hacked together, like a little bit of this, a little bit of that kind of leather composition. I'm gonna go back in with like a darker color to get those lines back, and this obviously it's wet, so it's super shiny right now, but it does give the like this is a mishmash of different fabrics look that I'm going for. Unfortunately, because I'm doing these two different colors, the shading, the highlights for them are going to be a little bit different. Luckily, I got them on like the left and right of my palette, so all I really have to do is bring in the light color and then like gradually move them more towards the middle. And I will be just fine. So, crunch time. How's the music now? Better? Music volume, perfect. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Alright. First coat of khaki down on the second model. One more to go. I'm going to come back around and do another coat because as I'm doing it, I'm realizing I do want a little bit more pigment out of this paint. So I will do a second round. Unlike the brown. The brown was rocking. But again, you know, not all paints are made equal. Treat each one a little bit differently. Yeah. Are you painting, for everyone who doesn't know, Crunch Time generally paints stuff from Battletech, which is like a mech robots fighting each other kind of game. Are you still painting up your army? He'll take a while to respond because he's got paint on the go. So do I. Although I have the benefit of I can just keep on like yapping. Not really large units. Most of them are done. Just some one-offs. Oh, dude, I love doing hero units. The destroyed ones, the destroyed mech tokens. So for me, I'm lazy. Like, incredibly lazy. For tokens, I just dry brush them. I don't even bother with like the high quality stuff because heroes I'll spend hours on. Like I'm painting these guys not quite to hero level of focus because heroes have faces and these guys don't really have faces, but close. Ah, get back over here. Just going back in, doing a second coat of the khaki on the boys who have already done before. This is much better coverage. Those drums and the eerie music in the background are just like pure horror movie nostalgia. My gosh, Hugh, please don't drop the model on the ground in the middle of painting it. Ooh, yes, that is a really good point. Yeah, doing testing out your paint schemes on tokens, like that's a really good point actually. I have the same problem where, like, if I want to see a whole paint scheme, especially if I'm doing like Warhammer type stuff, I have to like dedicate a lot of time. All right, base coat's done on the leather. Let's start highlighting. I'm gonna highlight like normal, but if you want to see me like see how to do micro scratches, send me a message in the chat, and I'll show you how to do some micro scratches. But otherwise, I'm just gonna do the normal thing. Now I'm going in with the Pallid Witch Flesh color from from Citadel Paints, which is the paint company owned by Games Workshop. And I just refilled this, so I should have heaps of it. I'll put it over here. A good amount of it, because I'm going to be borrowing and mixing and all that good stuff. So I'm not actually going in with the full color. I'm making subshades, where you take a little bit of one color and a little bit of another color, like starting with like 60-40, 60% of like the brown or the green, 40% of the witch flesh, and then like 40, and then flip it 40-60, and then like 90-10 for the highlights. Where's my water? Here. This process is a whole lot easier if you've done your time, if you've done your practice with your with like learning your paint consistency and thinning and all that. Okay. That is too light. Also, when you do make it like really thin, it makes it a lot easier to, you know, if you do something you didn't quite like the direction you went with that, just thumb it off. Just grab your bare thumb, wipe it off. It's undone. It never happened. Just a little bit on your brush at a time. And you're drawing with this. Like, that's the idea, is that you're trying to make a drawing. And that drawing might be tons of super thin layers, but you want to like carve out the shape of the shadow that you want to show off in the end. And the fact that you're using such thin layers is going to make it a lot easier to do. Just a lot easier. You don't have to think too hard about it. High parts are light, low parts are dark. Just that. That's all you need to know. If it's raised, it should be light. If it's lowered, it should be dark. There's some discussion about like where the light's coming from and like the scene and, you know, object source lighting and all that stuff. But that's all extra. That's all unnecessary stuff at this stage. If you're like, you know, learning how to shade, you just focus. High is light, low is dark. This is one of those slow intros. I really like these. I feel like it's got like a running pace once it gets going. Like one of my favorite bands is Carpenter Brut, and it's just like running music. Alright, highlight 1 done. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but it is in there. And you just like trust the process, keep on coming back to it, give it time. I'm also gonna hit that wrist thing. I have to make more of my highlight. I keep on forgetting I'm doing 3 miniatures, not 1. Favorite Carpenter Brut song? Oh yeah, Turbo Killer for sure. Hairspray Hurricane, I like that. I'm blanking on Turbo Killer is like the one that always comes on. For me anyways. Like if you're in my car and I'm doing the music, it's like you're gonna hear Turbo Killer. It's just so good. Okay. A little more thinning. I'm actually going to see them February. Can't remember the exact date, but I know they're playing in Toronto. Alright, a little more dramatic on this one. But if I ooh. I gotta check that out. I would put it on the stream, but like streaming services are weird about music. If you don't own it, you can't play it. Unless you've got a guy like Carl Casey, who's like put his music out specifically so that people can enjoy it in this space. It means he gives up some ad revenue, but trust me, like the good he does for the community for having this music up in the first place is enormous. Otherwise, you'd be sitting there listening to me just in silence. The song is Roller Mobster is the one I'm thinking of. That's not Turbo Killer that I listen to. Another good band, Dance with the Dead. They also have the same kind of like retro wave, outrun kind of vibe. Again, would that I could, they would be on. Okay, highlight number 2 done. Time for highlight number 3. I haven't this one already, have I? Well, that one's been highlighted, and this one's okay. Highlight number 3. If you are like me and you like to know where you stand in terms of your skill for different things, I can give you this very simple one for your brush control if you're a painter. It's simple. When you're painting a miniature, when you're doing like detail work, how far away are you comfortable holding your brush? Is it like this, like a pencil? or is it like this, where you're like really, really tipped? And I know like the tendency is if you're doing really fine details, like the whites of eyes, you're tipped like this. But what I've found is as my brush control has gotten better, I'm actually further away on the grip. Sometimes doing one of these, mostly because the model is a huge pain in the ass. But like, you know, that's if you're ever looking for like, how am I doing? Where am I on this scale? It's like a combination of like how steady can you keep your brush, but also where are you holding your brush? And it's not like, you know, good painters don't hold their brushes far away, but good painters can hold their brushes far away. And by just like the practice of it, you'll end up having a bit of a longer grip because you've been doing it for so long that like you get tired of the really pinched grip. It just becomes too much, and your hand gets cramped, and you just, you know, like that ski instructor from South Park. You're gonna have a bad time. I also have to hold it as a little bit longer so that you guys watching through the camera can see. Because if I'm tipped, you can't see dang near nothing. My big old meat hands get in the way. From a technical standpoint, if you're looking for technical, shading is usually a form of cross-hatching. You're doing a bunch of small lines in one direction and a couple of small lines in the other direction, which is how you get that a combination of textured but also like, you know, highlighted sheaf. And the more you do cross-hatching in one direction over another direction, you indicate the direction that the texture is either being stressed in. So like when you pull your shirt and it goes like it's being pulled down, for instance, to indicate that you do lines going down. I know, complicated math, but that's just how I do. I've been learning how to hold my minis so that I can hold them on expo, which is what I call like having it shown for everyone to see. So this grip, which is super unnatural for me, I'm getting better at doing this and holding this for a while, because it is much better than not being able to see anything. Big into Gunship, their stuff is the same kind of synth. Yeah, I will check out Gunship for sure, especially because like I love this genre. It is 100% my jam. Okay. Highlighting on the browns, done. Not down, but like round 1 is done. Round 2, I think I'm just going to keep on doing the browns until they're done, and then I'll hit the greens. So we're going to make a lighter highlight than the previous one. I'm going to put in some water so that it's nice, and we're going for like the consistency of soy sauce. Maybe even thinner than soy sauce. And you only need to make really a tiny amount of paint will get you a long, long way. Alright. The YouTuber grip. And long brush hand. In we go. Oh, man, I can feel myself not talking because I am in it. Shout out to anyone who is currently in the sauce, because I am in the sauce. Sometimes I stay in the sauce for such a long time that, like, I forget to come out for a breath. People will come up behind me and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'll be like, how'd you get in my house?" And they're like, "You invited me over." And I will have forgotten. Because of the sauce. I don't know what it is about computer boops and beeps. I like them. I told you that I was going to do regular shading and not micro scratches, and then immediately got into micro scratches. I'm sorry, everyone. I lied and deceived. Tech Noir 2, Empress of the Damned, Fly for Your Life, Ghost. Yeah, I'll add those to a playlist. Not a playlist that you'll hear on this channel, but a playlist for sure. I'll let you know what I think next time I come on. Alright. Gosh, painting leather is just so much fun. So expressive. Okay. First guy using the lighter paint as a highlight. Once I get his gauntlet done, I'm going to call him highlighted. Move on to the next guy. Thank you. Next. Also, quick little expo. See, we're getting some shape. We're getting some details, some like style into that leather, particularly in like the fold. And then yeah, in the back here. What we're going for is like movement and like areas of tightness or distress. And well, I'm getting it. I'm definitely getting it. Model number 2. Here we go. Time to engage. need to move so that people can see what I'm doing. I'm going to need to make more of this highlight because it is running out. I know some YouTubers or streamers or whatever will like use all bottled paints. They won't mix, like they'll mix some when they're like heads down on a project, but when they're filming, they won't use any home mixed paints. And I kind of get it, because like, how can I tell you like what color exactly I'm using when it's like a mix of like so many different pigments? I can at the very least tell you the paints I'm using, like the brands and like a rough guess of the ratio. But I can't actually, if you wanted to like follow along, it's kind of like Bob Ross. You kind of have to like know how to do it. I take it for granted sometimes that like not everyone knows what I'm doing when I talk about like making a subtone or a subshade or whatever. People are like, huh? What's that? I mean, I'm sure that they assume that that I'm making like an in-between color. But they don't necessarily know that off the bat. Like, I probably shouldn't be assuming that they know it off the bat. Seeing as how it's the season, does anyone have any like favorite Christmas movies they've been watching? I've been getting into rewatching Dash and Lily. Just reminds me so much of being an angsty teenager. Good days. Okay, and wrist thing. All right. This is gonna look really good when I get to the actual like full highlight. On to numero tres. Number 3. Wait, this is number 2, and I missed a step. It's gonna come here and fix that. If you're ever painting for a competition, don't paint in bulk. Do them one at a time, and definitely don't stream it while you're doing it, so you have time to think. This one I just did. This one has yet to be done. Let's do it. We're running low on this highlight. Will we make it? I have hopes that we will. Feathering in these little highlights. That's all you gotta do. Little strokes, kind of one after the other. Ideally on a sharp tip, but if you don't have a sharp tip, use what you got. Making more of the highlight juice, the good stuff. More has been made. It matches the original color. Great. We can continue. See, already by instinct, I went back into like that I'm painting at home kind of grip. I need to remember to keep the twitch grip, which is the having your hand twisted like this so that your thumb is on the top of the model and your fingers on the bottom of the model, so you can do like a nice exposition, like a nice show off of like how does it look. Yes. Alright, good with that. Now onto the wristband. Which honestly doesn't even need much. Alright, great. Last round of highlights is just going to be the actual, like, pallid witchbone color. Thinned down. Again. We're looking for that soy sauce kind of consistency. I'm saying that because I had sushi recently. And now what we're really looking for is like edges carving shapes and like maybe a couple of micro scratches if you want, but otherwise, you know. As you'll see, it's really quite drastic. Great. See? Looks like really, you know, dramatic, folded up, possibly even layered leather. Repeat over here. High is light, low is dark. Golden rule. And you use the color really sparingly. You are literally drawing just on the highlights that you want to call out, because it is so easy to go nutso on this, and then you end up with like, oh, it's all white, and you don't want that. Not even you don't necessarily want that. I can tell you won't want that. Also, this is it's a, if there was a skill tree for painting, one of the prerequisites for this sort of thing I'm doing where I'm like drawing these little lines, one of the prerequisites would be edge highlighting, which I can show you real quick on the side of this model. I'm going to edge highlight this space here. Edge highlighting is basically where you like go along here and you like, woo, you know, do that. That's edge highlighting. It's a useful skill. Everyone should learn how to do it because it's just the best. It's going to make your painting like really elevate. And if you look at like, you know, Warhammer pieces that get put on the website, or you know, there's always some form of edge highlighting going on. What we're doing here is edge highlighting light. Because this piece of leather is in the middle of the tapestry, it does not need a full edge. And here it is just as important, if not more important, to make sure your paint is wet, make sure it's getting where it needs to go smoothly, because there is nothing worse than having a super bright paint that isn't going anywhere, and then you fuck up because you like got irritated, and now you have to like either rebalance or, you know, redo a whole model. Ugh. Speaking of, my foolish self just filled in one of the belt holes. Whatever. Not that important. Yeah. And it's kind of like that. Here, I'll bring it closer to the camera. So you kind of see, it's like layers and layers of little lines. That's it. All right. Oh, big stretch. Next model. And I still got to do the highlights for the greens, but the greens will be easier. Not as much travel distance, which is a word I use to describe the difference between how bright the base color is to how bright the highlight color is. Small travel distances. First of all, they're not very pretty because, well, I mean, not that they're not very pretty, but they're not as dramatic. The recommended palettes a lot of times for like gaming companies is going to be smaller travel distance between the main and the highlight, which is fine. I think it's so that when people who may not be like serious painters, no offense to anyone who isn't, um, aren't gonna end up buying paints that are so far apart from each other, and then like, you know, kind of come away with a shitty experience because they're like, oh, why didn't this work? Why did my painting not work out? And it's simple. It takes a bit of time to learn how to close the distance between these color levels. Edge highlighting, right here. Get out. Edge highlighting. And a little bit of scratchiness. A little bit in there. Okay. On to the back. Once again, I have not made enough highlighting juice. That is okay. This epic music can feel like I'm in an action movie, and I love it. Yeah, yeah. Crunch Time just said, true, a lot of the recommended color sets are for people who are less into painting and more into gaming. I just want to get the thing on the table. Yes, absolutely. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. Um, but what I think is a little bit disingenuous is like people will look at a model online, or even better, on the box art, and then they'll look at the recommended color palette, And they'd be like, well, hold on a second, why can't I get the result that like that the promotion got? Like, why can't I make my thing look like the box? And the reality is that they used different colors because exactly what we're saying is like, not everyone has the patience to do all this stuff, and the promotional box art is done at a super super high level of quality, like super super high. They got a whole team of people called the heavy apostrophe e heavy metal, and they're like the official Games Workshop painters, and their job is to paint for the articles they post and also for the box art. And like they are the kind of paint nerd that I am. That we're talking about pigments, and we're talking about like layering and micro scratches and blah 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 blah. They use a color palette that the average person who just wants to get the models onto the field and start having fun are not going to have the patience for. But then you're stuck in this place of like, well, I'm a casual gamer, but I want my minis to look as good as what they look like in the box. And that's how people like me are born. Alright. It's not perfect, but it's also just the leather accents. I'm gonna move on. Time to do greens. Wait. Nope, my bad. Time to do this one other mellow, and then time to do greens after that. Get that soy sauce texture. Some people call it milky. I call it soy sauce. It's the same thing. Oh, this brush is a little heavy, which means that it's a little full. I might have overloaded it. No, not might have. I did, but that is okay. Lots of ways to deal with an overloaded brush. Option number 1: wipe it on your thumb. Option number 2: just deal with it. Like I am, and I really shouldn't be. By the way, if you're wiping paint off on your thumb, wiping on your skin will absorb the moisture more than the pigment. Wiping on your nail will absorb less moisture and still unload your brush. So if your brush is too wet, wipe it on your thumb. If it's just too full, wipe it on your thumbnail. So that your skin doesn't, like, your skin will sap away the moisture. Okay, made a bit of a mess of that. Hopefully none of you will notice, even though I just pointed it out. But it's not like any of you can stop me. My younger self could see me right now holding them all like this. They'd be like, why are you doing that? I'd be like, it's for my friends. No. I don't know how that looks. I'm gonna wipe it off. Try it again. Remember to brush in the direction where you want the paint to gloop the most. If I brush away from the edge, it will gloop somewhere in the middle of the plastic. Whereas if I paint towards the edge, the gloop, which is the residual paint on the brush, will pool up on the edge and accentuate the edge. Technical painting tips with you. Okay. A little bit of leather on the wrist. Beauty. Alright, how are we doing? Hour and a half in? Great. Let's get these greens done. They should be a lot faster because there's less of it. Just gonna quickly wash. In case I didn't tell you last time, this is where's the lid? This is brush soap. Usually I have a lid for it, but I don't know where I put it. If you don't own brush soap, go get some. It is shampoo and conditioner for your brush. It is non-negotiable if you give a shit about your brushes at all. Just is. I don't know what else to say. You wash your hair, don't you? Wash your brush. Okay. Let's mix some greens. The water. That soy sauce consistency. And we're ready to rock. Greens number 1, done. On to greens number 2. Guys, this music has me so locked in. I feel so powerful with my brush. The power men can only dream of. power of the synth. I own brush soap, but I don't use it. God damn you! I just buy lots of mid-tier synthetic brushes when they start to split. Just get demoted to dry brush. That's brutal. Go clean your brushes. I will wash your brushes for you. Oh. And like I use mid-tier synth brushes. There's nothing wrong with that. Like the ones that you usually see me on stream with these like funny handles, these are mid-tier synthetic. They're fine. But wash them. Number 2 done. Oh wait, sorry. Number 3. Windsor and Newton are the brushes they use the most. They have the Series 7 ones that are still in the box. Honestly, man, if you're not cleaning your brushes, leave them in the box. No, that's not fair. Do whatever you want with your brushes. But I've made the mistake of like not washing the Windsor and Newton before, and I feel really bad because my friend got me this absolutely beautiful brush, and I guess I'm confessing on stream, but whatever. And I was still learning. And they even told me, like, you've got to learn how to wash your brushes if you're going to use this brush. And I was like, yes, I will. And I did not properly. And they ended up splitting on me. Like, I can still use it. It's still around. But, I don't know. I kind of let my friend down with that one. So bad. My shoulder's just a pain in me right now. Yeah, a huge pain in the butt. Unfortunately, this is not a desk I can make it go up and down, so. Alright, round one of highlights with the green, done. I'm going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to do a round 2 with a lighter, with more of the pallid witch flesh. Again, soy sauce consistency. Just soy sauce consistency. You want it thin. Can I zoom in more? No? No, can't. That's it. That's maximum zoom. I might at some point get a different lens. Because I do so much detail work, it might be nice to have a lens that can like really, really come in close. Whether it's the physical body of the lens that's like getting me closer because it's long, or it's just got a different kind of focal length or whatever. Alright. Lickety split. Again, there's so much less green, I don't really have to worry about it. What's funny is I'm realizing right now that their skin kind of looks a lot like the skin that they're wearing. Which I guess is appropriate. You have a desk lamp that's got a ring light and the magnifying glass on top with a multi-part arm. Oh my god. Use the magnifier much, but being able to swing the light around is... Yes. So I've got, I mean, you can't see, but I've got two big lights that go above me, as well as the two lights that are behind me that like light up my hands and my face. They fill my space so much that I don't really have to move them. They're the newer NEEWER. They were a gift from my mom. Shout out, Mom, if you're seeing this. But they're awesome. I was even saying this to my friends like the other day. You can never have enough lights. There's always a need for more lights. Different lights, cooler lights, you know. Always want lights. Alright. Round 2 with that guy done. Round 2 with this guy. Alright. Round 3, just like the other one. Ugh. It's just pallid witchbone, but like mixed down. Mixed down meaning like thinned out. And then we're done. Then we'll be done with the fabrics. Cool. I like it. I'll give it a wash later. Probably just a black wash, just so it differentiates a little bit more from the skin. But yeah, last thing I have to do on this stream, because I really do have to finish this this model, is I'm gonna do this like black metal. So you really see it on this guy, the claws, as well as like the boots and the knees. Those all need to be done in the black metal. So I'm just going to do that again. I'm gonna be quick about it because I got this has to be. I've already made part 1 and part 2. I'm not gonna make a fourth part. I guess that also means that their base is just gonna be whatever the base is, or maybe I'll like pop on the screen like a couple days later, just with like a little bit better of a base done. Or sorry, to do a slightly better base. Okay. The scale paints don't spread quite as well as the AK or the Vallejo. So I have to be a little bit more careful with mixing it. But what happens sometimes is like a bit of an oily finish. But let me say, like, their color accuracy is phenomenal. So it's worth it, even if you do end up having to do a little bit more layers and stuff. All right, let's do it. I'm gonna intentionally leave the light parts light, and like just do a bit of carving with the dark on the boots where I don't want to have to repaint it again. Because it's a black metal, it's pretty okay for it to have the white highlights kind of where it's going to be light. Oh, he says, painting over them. Part of why I do like this though is because the paint is a little bit more oily. It glazes super nicely, like super nicely. And like glazing, if you're not familiar with glazing, it is a technique where you thin down a paint a lot, and then when you apply it to a model, because it's so thin, it ends up just adding a tint of color as opposed to the whole, full gamut of color, which you want oftentimes. These guys, because these are much more exposed, I'm just going to go ahead and cover them in the stuff. But you can see even here, where I've done this like section that was white, and I've done it with like this dark, dark color. It doesn't fully cover, it doesn't fully coat, and I like that about this paint. Like that brown, if I did the same thing here with that brown, it would just cover it and it would just be like solid brown. I don't want that. I want soft coloring. I want not fully opaque coloring, because I'm going to be coming back in, building up values here and there. But that can mean, if you're not prepared and you didn't know, you could come away kind of frustrated with this paint, and I totally get that. But for those of you who are thinking this, it is not the same when you have a paint with extra strong coverage, thinning that down into a glaze or thinning it down to like a wash or whatever. It does not behave the same way. It will behave like a high coverage paint, which means either A, it's going to take forever to water it down to the point where it's kind of unwieldy, or B, it's going to break. And when it breaks, what ends up happening is the platelets of pigment don't stick together as well anymore, and you end up with blotchy coloring. You get like some random particles that are like darker or lighter than what they should be. Alright, part's all on the shadow, so I'm just gonna go ham. Beauty. Mono number 2. I'm grateful only one of these guys has dual claws and the rest of them have like the shield thing. To me is these claws are kind of tedious to get around. I'll be honest. uh, so I'm grateful I don't have to keep on doing it. Lamian solution for diluting? Yes. If you don't have Lamian, um, Lamian is a that's like a clear coat, right? But I also use contrast mediums sometimes. Um, water and acrylic medium. Yeah, that's this. I made it myself. It's like uh, um, gold, like the Golden Paint Company, the super cheap, like you know, going to art school for the first time paint company. They make a matte medium that mixes really nicely. But even though crunch time like made a point of it being, it's kind of like a cheat code, that does not take away the importance of knowing how to thin stuff down. Like knowing your ratios, knowing how much, like what kind of consistency you're after. It doesn't matter what you thin with, you need to learn those. Those are important fundamentals. And I like to, use whatever reference point you want. I like to use soy sauce. Soy sauce for thin layers. Um, uh, milk for a base coat. Kind of milky. Um, and then edge highlights. I hate to say this, ketchup. Like thick. You want it thick and you want it wet because you do not want to have to go back again and do edge highlights again. We just want to do them once and then never again. Mostly because, I mean, it's great to practice your accuracy, but you don't actually want to be practicing your accuracy. You want to get it right the first time. All right. Guy number 2 done. Guy number 3. Let's get you kitted out. This is a reminder, this is not black I'm using the paint. This is petroleum gray from Scale Color, which I always want to call Scale 75, but Scale Color is what they're called. Tree shapes. Alright. With that, that is our black metal base coat done. I'm just gonna borrow the same white that I was using before for the leathers. I think I said I was gonna do something different, but oh yeah, I was. I was gonna do this instead of mixing my own thing. I'll use this. I like it because it's a blue base instead of a brown base. And this one's also incredibly high coverage. Like, one coat, you're done. This one I go 1-to-1 with. Like, one droplet of paint, one droplet of water. And my water, by the way, comes out of one of these ketchup bottles. So I can control the dosage. Oh, might have been a little too much. But at least he was only a little too much and not crazy amounts. Edge highlighting. This paint has so much coverage. I like almost always need to wipe some off. So for this, what I'm doing is I'm following the gesture of this vertical here. And so like the lines kind of go up and down with the lighting here. So as the line goes like this, along there, it's going to continue along the kneecap. And that's what's kind of determining where the paint goes. Actually, no, I'm gonna leave that. I'll be fine. Ooh, that is a crunchy sound. Okay, one down. I'm gonna do the double hand guy in a bit. I'm actually gonna thicken up this thing just a little bit. All right, got number 3 with the 2 sets of claws. Oof. At least his lighting is simple. This is like fantasy Wolverine. If Wolverine was also, you know, undead. Which actually, I wonder, was Wolverine considered an undead? Because like, he can't die. He's not immortal either. It raises the question: did he die already? If anyone has an opinion, please tell me. I love Wolverine. I don't want to make him any worse. I'm sorry. I don't want to make him worse by making him an undead. I'm just wondering, like, you know, comic book rules here. And I'm not saying zombie, because like zombies don't have brains, and Wolverine is clearly intelligent, and like, you know, makes his own choices, and you know, isn't eating brains. Not that all zombies eat brains. But do you think Wolverine Logan would be like classified as an undead? Oh wait, no, I guess not, because he has a soul. And like one of the things about undead is that I know he has an insane healing factor. I'm just, you know, playing around here. Alright, wait. Knee pads? Am I doing knee pads? I'll do it some more. Alright. On to the even lighter part. I'm going to start mixing with white. Same thing as before, it's going to be gradual steps. And same thing as before, you know, it's basically drawing lines. I need to glaze some of that back. Yeah, I can do that. I should double check to make sure Spotify is still playing the music that I advertised that I'm going to play. No, it's not. I should stop that. Go back over to Carl Casey. I was playing music by Nikki Nine. That's alright. We'll be just fine. Let's find. This is great. All right. Back to what I was doing. Back into the sauce. Well, the Nikki Nine was pretty good. I'm gonna look into him and see if Nikki Nine has a any open source music. Okay, just quick little showcase. We've got some nice metal building up over here. My last step for this is going to be like going in with basically white and just like hit the really shiny bits. And then I'm going to be done this. It'll be under 2.5 hours. Oh, I still have to do the base, but like, whatever, the base is easy. See, even I revert back to the death grip every once in a while. The having things super close to the tip. I think we all do. It's hard to avoid. dude number 3. Highlighting round 2 on the metal. Ah! Dang it. I have to go back in and clean that. It's okay. Mistakes happen. It's okay. Mistakes is how we learn. I realize I may have neglected the side of the boot of the other guy. So let's go back to dude number 1 and revisit the boot. Das Boot. Oh no, that's not the right color at all. Okay, I've highlighted him there. I'm going to give him a little love on the other side of his boot. Back over to this guy, make sure that his boots are getting a little bit of love. Alright, on to the last highlight for this black metal, which is going to be basically white. If you could see my painting palette right now, you'd be like, whoa, that thing needs to be cleaned. And you'd be right. It does. I'm cheating a little bit by just grabbing a bit of pure white. Just to give it the little super crisp highlight that it needs to look like really metal. Great. Whew. That is some non-metallic metal on them claws. They look sharp and mean. I do not want to mess with them. Wolverine might not be undead, but this guy certainly is. At the end of the stream, I'm going to set up my little turny wheelie thing and show off like the whole thing. But I've got two more models to do. I'm going to do the guy with the dual claws last because he's got 2 of them and it's twice as much work. And that's my reasoning for it, and you can leave me alone. That is too much pain. No! Damn it. More mistakes. Yeah, glazed it away. Y'all make mistakes sometimes. Especially in this like final stage. For which, can I just say, this music is perfect. This is definitely how I feel coming to the end of these guys. This is the energy I need to finish this. I'm sorry I'm not talking, guys. I really should talk, but like, I'm so focused. This is, you know... It's when it all comes together. It's when it finally, you know, pays off and makes sense. And it's just like a hyper-focused phase for me, like moment for me, where I'm like holding my breath, I'm thinking, I'm painting, obviously. And honestly, sweating. Sweating. But we're almost there. We're almost there. It's like a final countdown phase. Breathe, breathe, breathe. The worst thing you can do is just hold your breath. Alright, dude number 2. Not quite as smooth and fluid as dude number 1, but definitely got the metal look. I think I put too much white on. Oh! Alright, now the last part, which is the part that I'm honestly looking forward to the least. Mr. Claws for Hands. Because he's got twice as many claws as everyone else. And transported to another world. Oh, I thought it was going to be done in 2.5 hours. I was so wrong. I mean, not so wrong. It'll probably be done in the next, 20 minutes. But still, I came down here to film, and I was like, oh, I only have, a little bit more left to get done. Oh, phew. You're funny. Okay. Guys, we're almost there. We're almost there. Time for my super highlights. Right at the end, right at the end. Just gotta push through. Okay, we're almost there. Hand number 1, complete. Hand number 2, just getting started. Ugh, I have to freehand some tiny checkers onto a curved armor plate and I don't want to do it. Hey, if you have a mechanical pencil, it's your best friend. Trust me. Having done a fair bit of freehand myself. Okay. I would not make it stencil out of masking tape, especially if it's just checkers. Like, I get that you want to get it, you know, perfect, but unless you're doing airbrush checkers, just, like, draw it with a pencil. You'll be better off. Yeah, poke around for mechanical pencil. Otherwise, you can just grab like a regular pencil and like just sharpen the tip. Oh, okay. I'm gonna stay here and yap a little bit, but I need to set up my my promo shot because I gotta get some footage of this looking really nice. And the way I do that is I've got this thing, which is pretty great. I also have this thing. That was some scenery I printed for D&D. Kind of handy. Which this goes onto, and then it tilts a little bit, and I just like find a position I like, a little bit like under camera, and then I got this mark here so I know where the middle is, and then a little wire I need. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Where I just plug it in. Grab the wire. Plug it into this bad boy, which is right here. Pick a direction, and it goes. This is how I do my promo shots. I'm actually gonna rotate this so that the wire is not visible, and then tilt it towards the camera. It always gives like a nice angle that way. You guys are seeing the behind the scenes of how it gets made. Oh. Good golly. What a process. I know I didn't do the base. How much do you guys think it'll matter if I did the base or not? I should do the base, shouldn't I? You know what? I'll just dry brush it. This can wait. This can wait. I'll do that, and I'll just dry brush the base. I've got some paint here I can still use. Excuse. I know this is not strictly dry brushing. I'm just carving in shapes here, so that when I do dry brush, it's got something to go on to. Because dry brushing onto nothing, I don't really like it. I'd much rather have some sort of sculpting in. With like a messy brush. It's a printed. So the whole thing's printed. And the model from Beasterium, which is where these guys come from, came with a textured base. And so I just printed the base that it comes with. So I guess you could say it's prefab, but like it's not like high relief or anything. It looks pretty flat. And all I'm really doing is just like marking out the rocks that are on the base with like messy lines. Because I'm going to come at it with the dry brush, and the dry brush is going to equalize everything. Yeah, very convenient. Again, I say it in all my like YouTube videos, like when I write a little intro, to like go check out Beasterium. I mean it. They're freaking awesome. Especially if you like scary stuff. Although I know that you, Crunch Time, prefer more like a mech kind of vibe. Alright, that's no sculpting. I'm gonna grab my dry brushing kit. When you say BT, do you mean Black Templar? Also, for those of you who are painters out there, this is a dry brushing palette. If you have a friend with a 3D printer, get one printed. Super useful and free. Put you away over here. See, just for demonstration, sculpted with no dry brushing, the base, the base. And this is sculpted with dry brushing. Come on, focus on my hand. Focus on my hand. There you go. That's with dry brushing. Again, no dry brushing. Dry brushing. Sit back and finish up these bases off camera. I'm still talking because I'm still here. I'm still here, guys. I haven't left. So you don't really get a good look at his face. I'm gonna try tilting the other way too. There we go. Nice view of the sucker. I'll also do some promo shots, like off stream. Something I planned to do, but I didn't end up getting around to, was a little bit of verdigris on the copper bits. But whatever. Couldn't get it all. Oh, guys, we did it! We did it. These monsters are painted. I'm pretty sure just about anybody, any tabletop I brought this to, will be really happy to have them. I had a feeling that the greenish skin would look nice with the copper, looking armor. And I think it did. I think it came out good. I'm going to have promo shots of this up on YouTube. And I might also do a separate recording, because right now I'm just sort of pulling everything. It goes through a software called OBS, and then I download it off of OBS, so it's limited to 1080p. But I got a fancy camera here, so I should be able to get a really, really impressive shot of this guy. Yeah. Oh, look at all that detail. We did it! I kind of neglected his little metal plate in the back on the butt, but who cares? It's totally missable and totally blends in as a muted whatever thing on his on his hip. Yeah. Thanks everyone for coming to hang out. I'm gonna whip this all up into a YouTube video, and part 2 that I did with Irene a couple days ago, I'm going to put that up pretty soon. But, yeah. Thanks for coming to hang out. Thanks for painting. And for those of you who are, following along, the model I'm painting next is this. And this will be nice because I won't have to worry about painting 3 of them. I'll just be doing the one, which will be so much easier. Now I've got some fun ideas for what I'm going to do with this guy. Or girl, or it. Whatever it is. I got some fun ideas. And, yeah. Keep tuned. Stay tuned. Find me on YouTube, Instagram. I've also got a Patreon set up. And, yeah, I'll see you for the next monster. Cheers, guys! Yes, in the future I will show the pre-shading. I had the footage for this one, but I lost it because of corrupted files. So, I'll do it again. But, or not for this time, but in the future. Anyways, yeah. See you guys later. Bye!